Welcome back. Let's dive into some scenarios to apply what we have learned about PTSD patients. Since most of these tie in with many of the other psychiatric complaints covered in other lectures, we will hit the highlights. Scenario 1: Combat Veteran Flashback. It was the 4th of July, 2047 hours, when dispatch sent your unit to a man down unknown medical in a quiet suburban neighborhood. The caller had said the man was acting strange after the fireworks started. As you turned onto the street, the sharp cracks and low booms of fireworks echoed in the distance. In the glow of porch lights, you spotted a man crouched low behind a parked car, his head darting side to side, eyes scanning the rooftops like he was under attack. You cut the sirens and lights before pulling to the curb. The last thing he needed was more sensory overload. From a safe distance, you called out, identifying yourselves as EMS. He didn't look at you at first. His breathing was fast, shallow, and his muscles rigid. Your partner noticed a faded military unit tattoo on his forearm and stepped forward slowly, speaking with the cadence and respect of someone who had served. That small connection, acknowledging his service, using his unit name, broke through just enough for him to glance your way. His words came out low, almost to himself. Don't want to wake up tomorrow. Every alarm bell in your head went off. Calmly, you asked if he had any weapons. He hesitated, then nodded toward a truck parked nearby. Glove box. You signaled to the police officer on scene, who moved in carefully to secure the firearm. Once the scene was safe, you closed the distance, your hands visible, movement slow. His skin was cool and clammy, his pulse quick under your fingers. You slipped a nasal cannula into place, 2 liters per minute, more for comfort than hypoxia, but his oxygen saturation crept from 93 to 97 within minutes. Your partner started the monitor, sinus tachycardia, no ectopy, and applied the capnography line, noting his EtCO2 was low from hyperventilation. The veteran's gaze softened as you spoke, grounding him in the present. He wasn't overseas, he was here, with people trying to help. By the time you had him on the stretcher, his heart rate had eased down into the 90s, respiration steadying. In the back of the ambulance, you kept conversation gentle and steady, avoiding anything that might reignite the panic. You gave the hospital a full report: PTSD history, active suicidal ideation, secured weapon, and they prepared to receive him directly into psychiatric care. He never broke eye contact with your partner until the doors closed. This one shows a classic fireworks trigger. Many veterans with PTSD have difficulties around Independence Day or New Year's due to fireworks sounding like gunfire or explosions. Here, the veteran essentially mentally returned to combat. Scenario 2: Domestic violence trauma. It was after 9 in the evening when the tones dropped for a female hyperventilating at an apartment complex. You arrived to find her sitting on the concrete outside, knees hugged tight to her chest, shoulders heaving with each shallow breath. Her hair hung in her face, and when your male partner stepped forward, she flinched so hard she nearly lost her balance. You didn't need to say anything. You just caught your partner's eye and took the lead. Kneeling down so you were at her level, you introduced yourself quietly. She avoided eye contact, but didn't pull away. A neighbor muttered that she'd just had an argument with another man in the building and freaked out. You asked if she'd be willing to move somewhere quieter, away from the crowd gathering on the sidewalk. She nodded, and you led her to the ambulance step, keeping your voice slow and steady. Her skin was pale and cool, her respirations were running in the 30s, heart rate around 120. She was alert, but every muscle was coiled like a spring. You didn't ask about the argument, you didn't press about her past. Instead, you focused on her breathing. Look at me. Breathe with me. In through your nose, slow, now out through your mouth. You exaggerated the motion, letting her mirror you. One breath at a time, her pace began to match yours. Within minutes, her rate dropped into the low 20s, and you could see the tension start to leave her shoulders. The paramedic in the rig set her up on the monitor, still some sinus tachycardia, but trending down. Oxygen wasn't necessary. Her saturation was fine. No medications were given. The simple act of grounding and removing her from the trigger was enough to stabilize her. When you asked if she felt safe going to the hospital, she nodded, this time making eye contact. En route, she stayed calm, her heart rate settling just under 100 by the time you gave report. You let the receiving nurse know she might benefit from trauma-informed care and left her in their hands. PTSD isn't just for combat, domestic abuse can cause it too. Scenario 3: Accident victim reliving trauma. It was mid-afternoon when you rolled up on a 2-vehicle crash, moderate front-end damage, airbags deployed. No one was trapped, no hazards leaking onto the roadway. Police waved you toward a man standing beside one of the vehicles. He was red-faced, sweating, shouting, "Where are my kids?" over and over, even though 2 teenagers stood just a few yards away, unharmed. You tried to approach, but he didn't seem to hear you. His eyes darted to the crumpled hood, the broken glass. Later, you'd learn he'd lost family in a crash years before. Right now, he was back there, trapped in that day. Your partner stepped aside and called the children over. When they came into his view, everything changed. His voice faltered, the tension in his stance eased, and his eyes began to focus. You spoke clearly, introducing yourself, explaining each step before you touched him. His pulse was fast, over 120, and respirations high, so you slipped a nasal cannula on at 2 liters per minute and guided him toward the stretcher. He allowed the cardiac monitor, which showed sinus tachycardia, and the capnography line, which gave you an ETCO2 of 35, right where it should be. No IV fluids were needed, no medications given. The intervention had been psychological, pulling him out of the flashback and anchoring him to the reality that his children were safe. In the back of the ambulance, he stayed calm, answering questions, letting you complete the secondary assessment. By the time you reached the hospital, his vitals were nearly baseline, and you handed him over with a report that included the context of his reaction and the recommendation for mental health follow up. This scenario underlines the importance of recognizing a flashback versus actual current resistance. For an EMS provider, these stories reinforce that every behavioral emergency call is unique, and understanding PTSD can truly save lives and prevent injuries in ways that brute force or standard protocols alone might not. To wrap up, PTSD calls can be challenging, but they are also an opportunity for us to truly make a difference beyond the physical realm of injury and illness. By staying calm, empathetic, and safe, we can guide someone out of a very dark moment. As EMS providers, we often meet people on the worst days of their lives. And with the tools we've discussed, we can help those haunted by past worst days as well. Thank you for your attention and for your commitment to caring for patients with psychological as well as physical trauma.